Hi, for those of you who are new to my channel, hi, my name is Simi Nadinjang. I'm a former financial journalist turned media and communication scholar, currently doing my PhD in Vancouver, Canada. But of course, the place where I'm recording this is Korea, where I was born and raised. For those of you who have followed me for a long time, you know that currently I'm doing my research on education, technology, and policy. So I delve into topics of how AI transforms education, ethics of educational products like edtech devices and AI use in education, surveillance in the digital age, and more. So for those of you who would like to hear more about those topics, also let me know. But today, what I want to talk about is from newsroom to classroom, my journey as a media scholar. Because so many of you have been emailing me after the video that I shared about career change, career advancement, and sort of taking the leap of faith to change the life that you wanted to lead. So for me, my life has never been a linear process. My first dream was to become a pianist. I was on that path for many years. And then while in the US, I started exploring different career paths because I realized that I had been keeping myself in a small 3x3 practice room all day long without really making impact on the real life issues. Especially when I first took the environmental studies 101 class in my college, that really opened my eyes of how detached I was from the real world, even though I'm sure I was doing a lot of reflective training of myself becoming a musician and artist. So then in my 20s, what I noticed was that the hardest thing was to figure out what I was good at and what I could possibly make money out of by doing that. Finding that intersection was incredibly a long journey for me, partially because I was a very multi-passionate person. My professor once said, "You are such a Renaissance woman," meaning I had passions for so many different things, for environmental studies, for oceanography, for politics, for civic policy work, and more. So once I started stepping into third, fourth, sort of senior years of college, I decided to pursue policy work, especially public policy work. And that's where I sort of developed my second dream of being a law scholar. So I was actually selected as one of the 12 law scholars in college. I was the only foreign person then among all the American students. And I did like legal internships in New York and Chicago, where I helped out immigrant families who weren't able to speak English. I helped out with their social disability claims, especially those families who were unlawfully separated from their own family members because of the state public agencies coming in to intervene. After all those experiences, I went abroad in Germany because all of my senior friends were telling me that by the time you graduate, you will never have life. So you might as well, if you have an opportunity to go abroad, please do so. So then I took that advice. I applied for bunch of scholarship programs, and I got in. I got the DAAD scholarship, which is the Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst scholarship provided by the German government. So I studied at Freie Universität zu Berlin und Humboldt-Universität in Berlin for a year. And while I was there, I found my real third passion, which was actually broadcasting. So then that's how my newsroom sort of career started. But of course, the career did not kick start until about 2 years later. In the beginning, I went through rigorous training, starting with the announcer training in Korea after graduating from college. And those videos I cannot even watch again because it's so cringy. I do not sound like how I sound now. I did a lot of voice training where I would read newspapers out loud like 6-7 hours a day to actually find my new voice, to change my voice, because I wasn't breathing right. I was doing many things wrong while I was speaking. So I had to go through those trainings, and then and of course, even after I started my career, every time when I get a new project or new job, new position as a news anchor, as a broadcaster, as a newscaster, or whatever job that I get as a reporter, I would have to hone in my skills. I would have to always practice and try to get better and try to monitor myself. What am I doing? What can I improve, right? So every year was a step up for me, baby steps. My financial journalism career kind of started after about second, third year. And that's when I really delved into the whole new world of finance and economics, which I was never really a fan of, but once I got into the broadcasting world, it was very riveting. I love the energy of everything going so fast. There's adrenaline and also a little bit of anxiety. But at the same time, you're fighting with uncertain things, but with facts, because you can get facts and try to deliver what is the most relevant news and topics for our Korean audience. So that was such an exciting time for me. But what I would say is that working in the newsroom, one of the hardest things was keeping up with a completely different work schedule. For instance, when I was in charge of the morning shift, which is usually the global financial news shift, depending on the daylight savings, the newest stock market ends between 5 and 6. So that means that I would always wake up at 1 a.m. to get ready for the show. And that was really bad for my body. There's a reason why there's a biorhythm that we want to respect in our body. And what I noticed was that I can't do this for too long because it's simply not good for my body. And so not only that, I think when you work in the newsroom, you really want to have the best people. It's not the skill, it's not only referring to the skills, but actually good people. You want to work with good people, with good integrity, with good heart, because you all come in at such a difficult time of the day. You're like literally half awake and you come into the office and you try to do the job, right? So everybody can be very tense, but what makes a great project is when you have the best team and best teamwork, and that's very rare to have. I had a few that was really great, but of course, I also have my own faults, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, one of the main primary reasons why I transitioned back into academia from industry was because as a woman, as a female speaker, I never felt that I was given a voice that I deserved. A lot of times I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say and what I thought was deserving to be said. It was never really heard. And that's a typical, Korean working society, unfortunately. And of course, there were many, many great male managers that I had, male co-workers that I had. But, it was an unfortunate glass ceiling that I reached. And I felt like my full potential was reached. And for me, I had to find a new avenue. And that was pursuing PhD. And funnily enough, before I applied for my PhD, I cold emailed a bunch of people who were already in their PhD programs. And there was one girl who is now a professor at NYU. She was a communications PhD student at Stanford back then. I asked her, so what was the reason why you pursued PhD? And she said she had the same reason as me. As a female, she really felt that she needed a credential in order to be really heard and deserved. And that's why she pursued the PhD route. Of course, in the past 50, 60 years, the academia has evolved and it has created this massive financial institutionalized academic environment that a lot of the times it feels like a huge business, right? And it is. And I did not quite understand all of those details until I put my footstep in there. Because it's such a higher stage of the academia, not many people freely talk about it. But if you do go online now, thanks to YouTube and all these online technologies, platforms, blogs that are available, there are many people who talk about their own hardships and injustices they have encountered in academia, which I really think that are necessary to talk about and to be addressed. But at the same time, I think the key to remember is that one, having a great supervisor is also very, very extremely important. And you find your own network of researchers, scholars that you can really have mentorship from. That is extremely important. I went to Austria in September last year, right? And one of the big reasons why I went there was because I wanted to recruit one scholar that I've been following up with. I loved her work, and it happened so that one of my master's friends was an advisee of my committee member. And so I went to the conference, I presented my work, I asked if she would be willing to join my committee, and she said yes. So I was so thankful. I'm very thrilled to work with these key scholars across the world who are really willing to share their knowledge with young junior scholars like me, and I will be forever grateful for their mentorship. So when you try to seek those opportunities, you also have to work hard to see whom you can reach, and you also have to work to get there. So for me, one of the biggest highlights of last year was going to Austria, recruiting the scholar into my committee, and now I am starting my fieldwork. So what I would say about transition from the industry to academia, there are many aspects that you have to factor in and you have to talk about, because obviously, financially speaking, you're not doing very well at all. You're earning as a industry expert. You were earning like 6 figures, and then all of a sudden you're put down to a student level, right? So that's one of the reasons why I try not to leave out my industry work experience. I keep working with different companies, different corporations, different brands in Korea while I work as a PhD doctoral researcher, because I need those financial means to support myself as well, support my family. So that's why recently I worked with Osalo, the Korean tea company. I did some narration for their new project. And while I'm in Korea, I'll be moderating some conferences and award ceremonies. So those are really, really important for me to keep doing what I am passionate about, which is the PhD work as well. And also, I do not want to just throw away all my existing career that I have built. This is also very important, because especially when I teach, when I present my work, I'm no expert in that. So when you transition from one area to the other, don't think that you are leaving out what you have built over there. You are just carrying all of this to the next stage, and you're solidifying your existing experience. You're just adding and solidifying your new career. That's how I would see a career change and career advancement, career transition. And of course, this takes a lot of mindset change. I think a lot of the times it's just a mental game, because you're always fighting with uncertainty, what your outcome is going to be like after the PhD. Who knows? I don't know. At the moment, I am opening up all the doors, and I'm lifting things up to God. And I know that you know, when I was studying in London, the vision that I got was to help the next generations with education, because education shapes the kind of society that we want to live in, right? And it shapes the society that our next generations want to live in. It's extremely important area, and I think we all need to come together, talk about it, hear about it, and express our own opinions, because at the end of the day, that's what democracy is, because it's of the people, by the people, and for the people, right? Okay, so that was a sort of like a long video, but I hope that sharing a little bit of a journey of mine, you know, helps your journey as well. And I also cheer you so much on your own individual journeys. If there are things that you would like to share with me, the nuggets of wisdom that you would like to share with me, please comment down below. I read all your comments, and yeah, I also thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.